What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from Post Rock Promo. I'm here with Peter from Angel Number from Manchester, England. How's it going, Peter?
I'm all good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how did you guys form?
So we formed off the back of some previous projects. We sort of regrouped with a different with a different kind of objective to what we'd had in the past, with a different kind of spirit to what we were doing, and so to me it's a very intense new beginning for myself, and couldn't be happier that I'm doing it with the people I'm doing it with, and couldn't be happier to keep it going. However, it's all good. It's great. So yeah, without giving away too much, I wanna unveil everything in its own time. But yeah, that's what I want to say, really.
That's awesome.
To that.
So, you guys just released Hope is on the Way Out in August. How's the response been?
It has with the people it's reached. It's been profound. And live. It just works. It's delivered the message, I think, and the message isn't bleak, of course. Although it sounds like it on the surface, but it resonates exactly right, which I'm happy about. And it's only really one tiny piece of the big picture of the big puzzle. So I'm happy. It's super early days, so we're grateful for anyone jumping on board this early will be remembered. That's all I'm gonna say.
Very cool. So, who'd you record it with, and how was the process?
So we actually, it all gets done. We do it all ourselves, pretty much, with the exception of a few parts we didn't have facility to record. So the live drums, they were done with Bob Cooper, who's great, as well as some additional parts, just some additional production, and that's how it's going to be for a while. We produce and mix everything, so it's not an exciting answer, and it's very self-contained what we do. It's very much in its own world and kind of self-generated, but that's how it has to be at this point. There's a good reason. And it does get difficult, but that's, it's part of the journey. The fact that it's self-contained in a way that it is. So
Very cool. So, you're from Manchester, England. How's the scene there? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
So obviously the state of the world is what it is. Although it's coming back slowly and coming back alive. We're actually, everyone in the band is based all around the country, and the UK isn't enormous, but it is big enough for it to be sort of for it to become a bit of a logistical nightmare occasionally. But I would say in spirit we're based in Manchester, so yeah. I would credit Manchester for the beginning of this, really, obviously. And there's so many interesting venues that I really like. But I think my favorite venue in Manchester would probably have to be Albert Hall. It's not the Albert Hall that people know, the London one. It's a smaller version of it. Not a version of that venue, but it's a smaller venue that typically it's kind of a mystical place. It's an interesting one. It looks a bit like a church. The kinds of artists that normally play there. It doesn't seem random, and yeah, there's a kind of artist you probably wouldn't see there. So like you wouldn't see anything too heavy, or yeah, it's an interesting one. And apart from that, out of the smaller venues, the venue we just played, which is called the Castle Hotel, was actually really good. And it suited what we do really well. So I'd be happy to play there again. It's not an obvious one, and not that many people know it, but it's great.
That's awesome. So who are your biggest influences?
They see that is tough. Obviously the influence of post rock is enormous. There is no denying that. But let's say artists like Mogwai, then in terms of the shoegaze genre, My Bloody Valentine. But I would say overall it's far more widely reaching, and I would say we pull from it. I would say Angel Number pulls from anywhere from Depeche Mode, ranging from Depeche Mode to Nine Inch Nails, ending with pretty much any dance music related genres. Obviously, it's all very nothing has been unveiled yet, but yeah, it's very much rooted in its own little self-contained whatever happens universe. Yeah, that was kind of the intention behind what we're doing when we first decided to do it together, was to pretty much with completely involving and completely embracing where we come from, but then moving on to trying to carve out our little groove in almost the pop world, if you can call it that. So that's the objective, that's the destination. Although the destination, it's very much the journey, isn't it? So yeah.
So if you could tour with one of those bands, which one?
If I had to pick one of...
So if you could tour with one of those bands, which one?
Yeah. Well, ideally, as many as possible, but obviously touring with Depeche Mode while it's still a thing and while it's possible would be a dream come true for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Classic, right?
Maybe it might not be that common a choice these days, but yeah, it's a big influence. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with other bands I interviewed. Are you ready?
I'm ready. 1 second. Just a bit of 3 seconds. Ready? I'm good.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? That's. I tend to answer with the one I've enjoyed the most recently, but I like a lot of Murakami stuff. So I would say the one that resonated with me the most was Kafka on the Shore by Murakami. So I would probably say that at the moment. For fiction, and then for nonfiction, I've been reading Michael Pollan, specifically How to Change Your Mind. So I would recommend that to whoever's interested in whatever field that covers.
Favorite TV show?
I like The Sopranos. The Sopranos, they've stuck around the longest. So easy answer, really.
Have you seen the movie, the new movie?
I have. If I said I enjoyed it, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it for what it was, but I don't particularly see it as something that's on par with the show, personally. Have you seen it?
No, I have not, and I haven't seen the show either.
Fair.
Which I know is sad because I'm originally from New Jersey.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's honestly, it's great. It worked within its limitations so well. It's inspiring.
You'll have to check it out.
Definitely.
So if you could go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a rabbit hole. It's a really interesting question. Really interesting question. Wow. I'm trying to answer it from a personal standpoint in terms of what would actually affect, what would change, what would affect my life in a positive way. Oh wow, that's such a difficult question, this, actually.
You can go with a dead musician.
Sorry?
You can go with a dead musician if you want.
Can go with a dead musician. Interesting. Well, let's say I would have, it's such a cliche answer, but I would have loved to see Nirvana carry on. So if I could catch Kurt Cobain at a key moment in his decision making, then yeah, I would have loved to see what the hypothetical future would have been. So
That would have been sick.
And it's recently been 30 years since, it's since the biggest musical moment of modern rock history, I think. So yeah,
Very
I would have loved to see what would have happened.
Would have been sick. If you had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
If I had $1 million, I wouldn't donate it to any charity. Probably, I would try and apply myself. I would like to think, but then you never know, do you? Donating to charities, I've had some interesting stories when it comes to donating to charities. So I think trying to make a difference yourself is the way. That's the way I see it anyway these days. But yeah, when it comes to if I was to pick something, the ones that I trust, they tend to be I think Doctors Without Borders they will always need it, and they will always benefit. But controversy, left, right, and center around, it's a difficult one. So yeah.
All right, man. Last question. What are some places in Manchester that visitors should check out?
There's so many. But in terms of so all of the northern quarter is interesting, just as a microcosm of something when it comes to the people that populate it. It's kind of like its own little world. In terms of it depends what speaks to the individual, but there's a lot of new wave and post-punk history in Manchester, of course. So the classic Salford Lads Club on Coronation Street, the actual Coronation Street, is obviously a landmark. Southern Cemetery, if you're a bit of a goth, is an interesting place to go. And in terms of the city center, it's also compact enough that you can see everything in no time. So Manchester city center is obviously, you can cover it all by simply going to Manchester city center. And then I'm a big fan of South Manchester, so Didsbury and Chorlton and all of them places, they're interesting enough to see how people get on with their lives in all them places. Yeah, it's a tough question to answer because there's a lot to do in Manchester, a lot to see. So best thing to do is to just come and see what happens.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, chatting up a little bit. I really appreciate the support.
I appreciate you jumping on board and being interested and intrigued and wanting to do this. Thank you for this.
Of course, man.
So nice to see your face.
Yeah. Yep. See a face and hear a voice.
A rare occurrence these days.
This is true.
Well, not so much anymore, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what the world has in. Yeah.
We can only go up from here.
Has in store. That's it.
So
that's
for the
right.
People that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go on.
So for the people that are going to watch this later, where can they find you at?
Ideally Instagram. That's the most. From Instagram, you can obviously go anywhere, but Instagram is where we communicate our best. At Angel Number Lives, that's the handle. So that's all that matters really. And from then on, it's all the streaming platforms and everything. But for context, it's Instagram for sure. That's our main tool. communication. Yeah.
Good, man. Well, I hope you have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
Certainly will. Thank you very much.
Of course. See you.
Thank you.